In the greens, Bitcoin up 8%. It's great, great for the crypto market. So what happened? Well, this happened. Remember that the president of El Salvador wanted to make Bitcoin legal tender? Well, it already passed. They already voted for it. And now, if you're a business, you have to, if someone wants to pay you in Bitcoin, you have to take it. But it's good because in countries like El Salvador, so many people don't even have banking. They have to use cash. And the cash, because there's so much inflation, the cash is worth almost nothing. So it's actually great for El Salvador because they're getting a currency that's better than the one that they have right now. And El Salvador could be the first, it could just be the first country in a row of countries who will adopt Bitcoin. And what does this mean? It means the prices, they will rise and rise and rise. Imagine Brazil, if Brazil wanted to adopt Bitcoin. Well, only the future will tell, but it's very positive news. Also, more positive news is this. Bloomberg Intelligence Senior Commodities Strategist Mike McGlone believes that Bitcoin is more likely to rally to 40,000 than slump to 20,000. This bullish outlook seems to be shared by traders as Bitcoin initiated a sharp recovery today. So, another good piece of news. For a lot of days it has just been negative news. FUD. People trying to bring Bitcoin down, crypto down. But now we're seeing great news. And then I want to show you the end of this great debate between Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra. I don't know how to pronounce it. But Michael Saylor is basically the guy who is the director of MicroStrategy, who has invested millions, hundreds of millions into Bitcoin. They had invested they owned 92,000 Bitcoins and they wanted more. So Michael Saylor, he lent money. He wanted to buy for 400 million more Bitcoin. And then soon after today, no, 400 million was not enough. So he decided to go for 500 million. So yeah, he's very much into Bitcoin, as you can tell. And then there's Frank. He's more realistic, some would say maybe pessimistic on the outlook of Bitcoin and crypto. And he's talking for investing in gold, and that gold is the standard and that is really the safe way, and Bitcoin is not that safe. So it's very interesting because it's seeing this whole crypto thing from different perspectives, and that is very healthy too. So let's just start out by Michael Saylor starts out by coming with his final argument for why crypto and Bitcoin is the future and why it's better than gold.
Gold investors share the same.
Wait. I need to fix the audio.
View as Bitcoin investors, but I think they tend to lack one key insight. Money is technology, and Bitcoin's superior monetary technology with the powerful network effect. I've watched hundreds of interviews of gold advocates, and they almost never address the technology issue. I found a reference by Mike Maloney 10 years ago, but for the most part, they're not thinking about technology. Diversification makes no sense when there's a correct answer to an engineering problem. You would never diversify the metal in an aircraft wing, or the answer to a math problem, or the shape of a ship's hull, or the oxygen content in a scuba tank. When the cabin depressurizes, you don't place an oxygen mask on 10% of your family. Money is a winner-take-all competition. There is an answer. Choosing the wrong answer has dire consequences. If we contrast the Golden Knight with the Bitcoin Dragon, the Golden Knight's got a 30-year life. It's plodding, stupid, heavy, predictable, and stagnant. Up against the Bitcoin Dragon, the Dragon is immortal, teleporting, dematerializing, hyper-intelligent, rapidly evolving, moves at the speed of light. Which one of these two is going to win the fight?
So he's basically saying Bitcoin or gold. Bitcoin is this crazy dragon. It's hyper intelligent because there's people behind it, and they're continuously developing it. And there's so many facets to Bitcoin that you don't find. Sorry if it's so loud. That you don't find it in gold. Gold is a metal. It's scarce, and it has shown over time to be very stable, and it's great for that. However, Bitcoin is the future because it has so much more facets.
Gold bugs say put 10% of into physical gold to protect against the bank crash. What about the other 90%? They're not really providing a solution. They're suggesting a hedge. Bitcoin is a solution. Mike Maloney, he says, quote, "The greatest wealth transfer in history is therefore the greatest opportunity in the history of mankind." Well, yeah, if you actually pick the winner in the wealth transfer. If you pick the loser, then you miss out. It would be a shame to actually know this is coming and then miss out. The gold standard fails because gold doesn't sufficiently empower people to control their own property. Governments and banks can tax or confiscate those rights. The gold industry can inflate away that property. Gold coins were too inflexible in the 16th century. They don't represent a solution in the 21st century. In 1914, at the beginning of World War I, the gold standard was thrown overboard within 2 weekends. That's lips from gold wars. The Genoa Conference in 1922 and Bretton Woods in 1944 show the world will at best create a faux gold standard, then corrupt it. If we have gold standards, we are going to get scammed again. Quote, Michael Maloney. Bitcoin addresses this issue by shifting power into the hands of individuals via cryptography and implementing a decentralized security protocol via proof of work. And therefore, it's protecting money from taxation, inflation, and confiscation. Billions of individuals can take control of their money via mobile technology and trade with each other at the speed of light via currency of their choice. Hayek said, "I don't believe we'll ever have good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. That is, we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way introduce something they can't stop."
So what he's basically saying is gold is great, it's stable. However, it's not Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is not only a technology, and it's not only something that you invest into that has some kind of substance that you can use for something. It also has the power to decentralize banking and to take power away from the banks. So there will be less corruption. So it's also Bitcoin is also buying into this idea of a future with less corruption and a place that is more decentralized and more a world of the people, of people coming together.
Bitcoin's a money virus. Nobody's ever defended anything successfully. There is only attack and attack and attack some more. That's Patton. Gold is defense. Bitcoin is an offense. It's spreading at 200% a year. It's going to be to 250 million people by the end of this year. Next stop is 1 billion. Next stop is everybody. The network is worth 25 trillion a year to solve the strong money problem. The protocol is already recruited Binance, Coinbase, Fidelity, PayPal, MicroStrategy, Tesla. We heard Venmo joined. Next will come Apple, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft. Bitcoin's an economic imperative. It's a technical imperative. It's a moral imperative. Economically, there's $250 trillion of currency derivatives that are debasing at least 10% a year. That's a $25 trillion a year problem. Every investor needs to store value to survive the currency flood. Technically, this is the greatest mobile application. This will be the greatest mobile application. Mobile wallets holding digital currency and digital assets. It's going to allow 5 billion people to trade with each other and protect their life force. Bitcoin is the protocol that synchronizes 100,000 financial applications in cyberspace. It'll be the kingmaker, and it's going to tip the balance of power in favor of whichever big tech company firm embraces it the most. It's a moral imperative. It's the best hope the human race has for life, liberty, and property for the 8 billion people struggling under the weight of excessive regulation, corrupt politicians, and collapsing currencies and dangerous physical environments. It is an instrument of economic empowerment and can be delivered to everybody. So, if you believe in sound money, life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness, it's time to abandon gold and move on to Bitcoin. This century, we've digitally transformed messages, books, photos, videos, meetings, newspapers, payments, and relationships. Now it's time to transform money. Bitcoin is hope for a better world.
Michael Saylor, thank you for your closing remarks. This is your...
Also, we must remember that Michael Saylor is obviously heavily into Bitcoin, and he would not speak negative or say anything to talk of any of the drawbacks of crypto and Bitcoin. But he does have some fair points and drawbacks and more pessimistic views, some would say realistic views. Well, that's what we have Frank for. And he definitely have some drawbacks about Bitcoin and crypto in general.
Your time now, Frank, your final 6 minutes to make your case for gold over Bitcoin.
All right. Well, I think I've made my case already as to what Bitcoin is and Bitcoin isn't with respect to gold. Okay. I pointed out the risks that Michael never seems to want to acknowledge. So now at least people can look into that a little bit more carefully. The idea that rewards come without risk in this world is you can't gloss over that stuff. And I would just want people to understand the risk of what they're getting into. So you can't keep on selling this as a guaranteed winning lottery ticket, and as a cure-all for all the world's ills. Some utopian fantasy that you're selling here. This isn't snake oil, and you should stop selling it in that fashion. I know that Bitcoin followers, a lot of them, not all of them, are real idealists. And Michael is promising you that world will be delivered to you. I just don't see it. That's not the world we live in. We live in a very, very competitive, ugly world. And I just don't see he's going to achieve that sort of global utopian vision that Bitcoin is going to answer the problems to everything in this world. The idea that Bitcoin can go up by a factor of 10 times, consume all the value of gold, and then consume all the value of bonds, $300-400 trillion, I just don't see what world that could possibly happen in. It's just, in Michael's world, all you own is Bitcoin. That's the only asset class you own. And that's not the way that you're going. It's just never going to happen in the real world. It's sheer fantasy. And I think that maybe the way you're promoting it, if you only promoted like 10-20% growth, you wouldn't get all of this massive speculation that's going into Bitcoin, which I think is very, very dangerous. But I guess it's easier to promise a 20-bagger or a 100-bagger. But the higher it goes, the more outrageous your claims have to become about what Bitcoin is. And to me, that's very reminiscent of a lot of the research reports I used to read during the dot-com bubble back in 1997 to 99, where they had to justify the price, and to justify the price of some of these crazy assets, they had to make some outrageous assumptions. And this is what I'm seeing here in Bitcoin. Now, I don't want to get personal here, but I just find your style of promotion as misleading and filled with hype, okay? And the one thing that caught my attention, and the reason, the catalyst to why I wanted this debate, is when I heard you say time and time again that people should buy Bitcoin, hold it forever, and if they need any cash, they should borrow against their car, their house, their businesses. That is such a reckless and irresponsible thing to suggest. I will bet that 90% of your 700,000 Twitter followers are not millionaires, never mind billionaires like yourself. And if these guys are levered up and we have an 80% correction or a 50% correction in Bitcoin that lasts a few years, you're going to wipe out a lot of small investors. And that should really concern you.
And that is the thing. Please. And personally, I would never invest more into Bitcoin and crypto than what I could afford to lose. I would never go out and lend money to put it in, because it just puts too much stress on you, too much hardship on you, and it's not healthy. Invest because it's something you believe in, maybe, and because it's something you can afford to lose. And if you do that, you will be more likely to hold the crypto throughout, even when it goes down, because you have a strong belief that it will go up again.
I also don't like the style in which social media is being used to bully critics, using slogans and campaign, the gimmicks and the slogans like the laser eyes and cyber hornets and have fun staying poor, all this stuff. To me, it smells like a cult. It's cult behavior. It's not serious. And I think if you had more confidence in the value of Bitcoin, you wouldn't have to use that kind of language. So here's the bottom line where I'm at with Bitcoin. I think that we live in very uncertain times. I don't think any one of us has experienced an investment climate like the one we're seeing today. Certainly not in many, many generations. And I, unlike you, don't have a crystal ball. I don't have that benefit. So what I like to do is diversify. You never put your eggs in one basket. That is about the dumbest investment advice anybody could give. So my suggestion to investors is diversified portfolio skewed toward hard assets, because I think that's the environment we're in. And that includes real estate, gold, art, and Bitcoin if you like, okay? So buy Bitcoin. Knock yourself out. It's probably going to go higher. I've said that before. But the best strategy might be, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, hedge it with gold, because that is gold's purpose. So when and if the markets crash, and they will crash again because we are in a bubble environment, you'd be doing Michael, you're doing your followers a disservice by telling them to sell their gold. Sure, go ahead and tell them to buy Bitcoin, and if they want to believe everything you're saying about, go for it. But to sell their gold is the worst thing they could be doing, because they will need it as a portfolio diversifier, because it's inversely correlated with what I think Bitcoin is and what equities are. So I'm just asking you to stop with all the hyperbole. I mean, you're selling this utopian fantasy that is going to probably hurt a lot of people. And I just honestly believe, buy Bitcoin, fine, but you have to own gold as your insurance. And I rest my case.
Wow.
So what Frank also said, that we are in a bubble environment, and the market will likely crash. So it doesn't hurt to have something in the backup. So if it crashes, you can actually invest some more. Because when it crashes and everything is completely red, that is when money is made. That is when you can make so much money. It doesn't hurt to have something in the backup. You don't have to invest everything. All right, that's everything from today. Let's see the graph. 8%. I had to record this video 2 times. I really hope that the sound is great now, or just okay now, because I won't be recording it again. All right, well, that's it for today. See you tomorrow.